Morning, folks. It's me again, Shannon Fox here, Devoted Patriots 2 channel. Got a little bit of news for you this morning, but I'm going to play you a clip from Benny Johnson. A little bit of breaking news from Fox about the Mar-a-Lago raid. And Obama being one of the architects of this whole sham show thing like they got going on. Just like J6 committee all over again, but with the Trump raid. You got all the same culprits involved. Christopher Wray, Obama, Biden, all the crooks at the top, Susan Rice. All those folks that have been trying to take Trump out at the same time, same folks, still playing the same games. Now, they did try to indict Steve Bannon. I guess this morning he is going to court behind something that Trump pardoned him over a couple years ago, involving funds with the building the wall. Well, when Trump pardoned him and several other people, since then, they seem like they can't get Trump the way they want to, so they're trying to get everybody and their dog that's a friend of Trump's. Whether it be Peter Navarro, Steve Bannon, General Flynn, they want them all to be in jail to placate their narrative, which is all the Trump people are criminals and bad people, which we know who the real criminals in government are at this point in time. It's not the people trying to get the truth out there. It's these lying lefty Democrats that are using these weaponized agencies against the people, including everybody that supports Trump. You know, MAGA is now the extremist as far as mainstream media is calling, and it's not just Joe Biden saying it. It is now a lot of the mainstream media are chirping the same thing. They're chirping Trump has got nuclear codes, and we're the most extreme thing to ever happen to the country. The MAGA, Make America Great Again. Such a terrorist conversation. Go figure, folks. Now let's go ahead and get into this, but I just want to let y'all know we got shows going on tonight, on Thursday night with Matt in Exile, called The Minutemen Show. Me, William Archibald, and several of us will be on there tonight. We do this every Thursday. Come join us, 5, 6, or 7 o'clock. You can catch us on my channel, William Archibald's channel, Matt in Exile's channel. Most of our channels will be up and running, all in sync for an interview between 4 or 5 of us, just discussing the news of the day. And here's something for anybody that listens to my channel but really isn't into the junking thing. I do a little bit of junking on this channel. I do have another channel. It's a junking channel, and whether you're a junker or not, whether you that's your that's something you would get into, learn how to break stuff down, make a little more money out of it, I'd appreciate your subscription. And if that's not really your cup of tea, I still appreciate your subscription over there. I'm trying to build that channel up to where eventually one day I'll be able to make some money on that channel just by teaching people how to junk. It's one of the channels, unlike this one, that probably won't get smashed behind my political conversations. So just like William with his We'll Fix It channel, I've got my junking channel, and hopefully one day we'll be able to be monetizable, because YouTube has no reason to smash it over politics and things. So I would appreciate subscription from everybody that listens to this channel, whether you ever come over there and listen to my DIY junking or not. If you will, go down in the link in the description below and jump on over to that other channel and give me a subscription. I'll be throwing out a video later today of just all the junk that I pulled in yesterday, explain a little bit about lead, a little bit about transformers, and how to get all the money out of a vacuum and a few things like that. Just good information. Like, subscribe, and share Devoted Patriots, not just here, but over there. Now let me go ahead and get into this Benny Johnson video, explaining a little bit about how OBUMMER is part of the problem with this attack on Trump. I'll check it out.
Tonight, attorneys for former President Trump are firing back against the Justice Department. The government is against appointing a special master to review documents taken by the FBI from Mar-a-Lago. In a 19-page response tonight, Trump's team argues, quote, the government twists the framework of responding to a motion for a special master into an all-encompassing challenge to any judicial consideration, presently or in the future, of any aspect of its unprecedented behavior in this investigation. This comes as multiple intelligence sources tell Fox News tonight The secret SCI classification marking on one of the documents photographed by the FBI, you can see it there, it was unsealed last night, is unusual. They say it is not widely used by the intelligence community.
So what's going on here? This is a little strange. Now, we had Kash Patel on the show yesterday saying that this is a staged photo. We have Kash Patel on the show yesterday saying, wait a second, these documents are not classified. So the cover sheets are not classified. They have blocked out what the documents were in order to abstain and in order to obstruct your ability to understand what's truly happening. It is all about information warfare. Information is power in a moment like this. And so they are attempting to rig the public's perception of what's going on here by adding classified sheets to what Donald Trump had in his drawers. So this is a theory. We have not confirmed this, but the theory right now that is being vocalized by Team Trump is that these classified documents and cover sheets that you saw there, in order to show that Donald Trump took his classified documents, he took them. This is how Donald Trump keeps his documents. All the classified, all the nuclear codes, they're right here. They're right here. Donald Trump, he keeps them on the floor. This is how Donald Trump keeps his documents. The idea right now is that they added, there's a theory that they added these classification covers to these documents. This theory is pernicious. It is attempting to frame Donald Trump in the classic sense. Dick Tracy, who done it, who got him. Dirty cops framing Donald Trump. Donald Trump was on the radio just seconds ago. We pulled this clip. This is hot off the presses. Donald Trump was calling into local radio and was saying just this. Here's the president talking about the FBI, essentially framing a photo to make him look bad. Insane stuff. Listen.
Why are they opposing this special master, sir?
It's a little like, why don't they want a voter ID, if you think about it, right? It doesn't make any sense. Why don't they want voter ID? They're against that. They're against anything that, frankly, almost anything that turns out good. What they did here is they broke into the house and they went to an area. That area is my office, I presume, and everything's neat. I'm a very neat person. Everything's clean. Everything's buttoned up. And they took documents and they put them all over the floor. And then they deceptively put out that picture. And a lot of people think that when you walk into my office, I have confidential documents or whatever it may be, all declassified. But I had confidential documents spread out all over my floor. And like a slob, like I'm sitting there reading these documents all day long, or somebody else would be. It's so dishonest when you look at it. And so people were concerned because they said, gee, that's a strange scene. You look at the floor and you see documents, right? They have cover sheets of documents. No, they put them there, John, and they put them there in a messy fashion. And then they took a picture and they released it to the public. And this is what we're dealing with these people.
In the year 2018, I got to interview Donald Trump inside of the Oval Office. Sarah Sanders escorted me in. I waited outside. Sarah Sanders went and got me, escorted me in, and I got to sit for an hour-long interview with Donald Trump, one-on-one inside of the Oval Office, inside of Trump's office at the White House. Now, I know that there is a large staff at the White House, and they keep that place meticulous, but let me tell you something. Donald Trump is a very clean man. That place was like spotless. Spotless. I saw the button that Trump pushes on the other side of his desk to bring him a Diet Coke, not to launch the nukes, to bring him a Diet Coke. I've seen it. The button was sparkling clean. Donald Trump is a fastidious man and a bit of a germaphobe, according to reports and according to his own autobiographical assessment of himself. So the idea that Donald Trump keeps his classified documents strewn on the floor is insane. They are framing Donald Trump, and some of the smartest legal minds in America say that. Jonathan Turley was on Fox News yesterday saying they're doing this because they've been caught, essentially. And this is now a tactical retreat, a panicked retreat to attempt to save face and to stop toothy Republican congressional investigations. Jonathan Turley, one of our favorite political commentators and legal scholars, take it away.
I think the magistrate made a mistake signing off on this broad language. I think you're right. It should have had greater particularity, greater specificity. because it was so unbelievably broad. What's amazing about this filing is the Department of Justice tells the court, yeah, we probably did gather up some other material, but we still shouldn't give it back because it's evidence that he mixed classified material with non-classified. I mean, that is really just breathtaking. I mean, you can establish a record and then give the material back, particularly if it's attorney-client material. They don't explain why they just don't obviously create the record and then allow the material to go back. They also say in a footnote, we might be able to give more information about what was gathered, but we're looking for extraordinary circumstances. What sounds like those extraordinary circumstances is to avoid a special master.
So that is what they're doing right now in court today. Now, our show goes live at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The court arguments take place at 1 o'clock. So expect a live from us tonight with the updates and an update as quickly as possible on what happens with this special master. Special master is a huge deal. This is what Donald Trump is arguing in court. Trump submitted a formal response to the Justice Department's explosive Tuesday court filing just before 8 p.m. last night. The ex-president's legal team is hitting back hard at the DOJ's arguments against appointing a special master to oversee the classified documents recovered at Mar-a-Lago. It comes the night before a major hearing in the case. That is today at 1 p.m. Again, we will be updating you as to what happens in this case. Trump's legal team suggests that they are entitled to be represented in a review of the documents seized, arguing that the government's review of the privileged information is too one-sided. The DOJ's 36-page Tuesday filing is an account of the investigators' attempts to recover classified documents that Trump took home with him. It accuses Trump and his lawyers of having deliberately hidden records from investigators and likely to concealed and removed in order to obstruct a probe. So that is what the feds are getting at, and we'll cover that in just a moment, and exactly how Barack Obama is behind it all. In the Wednesday filing, Trump attempted to dismiss the very origins of the DOJ's investigation by arguing that his possession of sensitive documents should not have been concerning to the National Archives, which first raised the alarm about the ex-president's handling of classified documents earlier in 2021. This has been a years-long attempt to get Trump. They have been working on this, manufacturing this, constructing it, carefully orchestrating it in order to get to this moment right now, where it would have maximum damage before the midterms. Trust me, these people are not stupid. They are malevolent, they are evil, but they are not stupid. In the filing, he also argues that the use of executive privilege, primary benefits in the United States, should be honored. After the U.S. District Judge Aileen Cannon signaled her openness to granting Trump's request for a third-party official review of the DOJ seized documents, prosecutors submitted filing indicating the so-called privilege review team was engaged in much of the same work. They argue that appointing a special master would be superfluous and potentially imperil the investigation given the highly classified nature of the documents recovered. It is incredible, the playbook here. Incredible, the playbook here. People, some of our favorite reporters are saying, making Swiss cheese of this, making mince sausage out of this. Greg Jarrett on Fox News, who is a legal expert, is saying, yo, this is an absolutely feeble argument by the DOJ. This shows that they are running scared. This shows a tactical retreat. Listen to Greg Jarrett.
Look, I read the court filing, and I must say it is one of the most feeble and anemic arguments by Merrick Garland that I think I've ever read in a court filing. No legal standing to go to court, he claims. My goodness, a first-year law student knows that if you're the target of a search and seizure, you have a constitutional right to go to court and argue a violation of the Fourth Amendment, to either suppress it or at the very least have a special master review and segregate the material. The other part of what was in the court filing by Garland was this crazy notion of obstruction of justice. What is that? You have to prove that a person acted corruptly and with an improper purpose. And the United States Supreme Court has narrowed it further and said you have to act immorally with a depraved and evil purpose. Where is evidence of that? If the president truly thought he had a right to access and custody of these presidential papers, There's no corrupt intent here. And look at all of the 3 criminal statutes in the warrant cited by Garland. They all require knowingly, deliberately, willfully breaking the law. If the president said, wait a minute, this stuff, I declassified it and have a right under the Presidential Records Act to have access to it, then, there's no criminal intent here.
So this is the actual criminal intent. The true criminal intent is how the DOJ weaponizes leaks, like the photograph of the documents strewn across the floor. These leaks are intended to defy the facts of the case and to give red meat. These people don't eat meat, so give like sloppy white soy to their rabid Xanax and Chardonnay-filled base of moms in Lululemon pants in Georgetown heading to Spin Cycle, Soul Cycle, whatever the hell cycle. I don't actually know. I don't do that kind of stuff. Guys, the reason why Trump must have a special master of these documents is because the DOJ takes the documents and then leaks them selectively to their PR firms in the Washington Post and the New York Times. Donald Trump is saying in his filing that a filtration process and a special master would prevent the unchecked DOJ impugnment, leaks, and publicizing of selective aspects of their investigation without recourse for Trump. So this is the kind of stuff that infuriates judges. When judges are trying to run a courtroom, the running of a courtroom is the running of information. This is why juries are not allowed to watch TV news. They're not allowed to read the local newspapers. They want you to be an unbiased juror. They do a selection process, and you're supposed to simply observe the facts of the courtroom. So observing the facts of the courtroom is what Donald Trump wants, yet the DOJ continues to leak. Chris Bedford, our dear friend, was on Fox News talking about exactly this. Bedford talking about how the DOJ and the media's propaganda arm are working overtime against Trump, again, at the direction of Barack Obama, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Here's Bedford.
I think the DOJ is on its heels right now. They actually believe that after 7 years of totally lying to the American people over and over again, being able to pull the wool over Republicans' eyes over and over again, getting good Republicans like Senator Jeff Sessions or Attorney General Jeff Sessions to stand back, people like Mitt Romney to vote for impeachment, that people were still going to buy this and buy their secrets after they raided the president's house, which is something, if you're raiding a political opponent's house, you better have a darn good reason. You better be very outright with it. But especially after 7 years of lying, first they tried to say it was secrets. Then they said the nuclear word as if that would just scare everyone into it. Then they even had some of their former agents imply that this had something to do with actual Russian spying. Then they released that fake and completely empty affidavit. And now they're coming out with this picture, this arrayed picture of documents. They have not made a case to the American people, and the onus is on them. They've already become an internet meme, and thank goodness, finally, Republican senators and congressmen and pundits are immediately, no one's sitting on their hands and saying, let's wait and see. Everyone's looking at the DOJ and the FBI and saying, you show the evidence, because if you raid your political opponent's house in the United States, you better have a darn good reason, and you better prove it to us, and not just say it's too secret for the kids.
So what has the DOJ proven? And excellent points there by Chris Bedford. What has the DOJ proven? They've proven nothing. They have to prove that Donald Trump, one, had malicious intent for these documents, and then they have to prove that these documents were secret and classified in the first place. Because Donald Trump has every right to keep personal records from his presidency. We're going to jump into that in just a moment in our next story and show you exactly how they utilized, it's incredible how they utilized the National Association of Infectious Diseases against Donald Trump, NAID. Have you ever heard of that organization? Dr. Fauci's organization. You ever heard of it? It's incredible. The FDA, the CDC, these are sleepy backwaters inside of the swamps. Not even the alligators go there to find anything to eat. There's nothing in these organizations. They are masters at lawfare and permanent statecraft from inside of the sludges of the sewers where they live. So the court has to prove, the DOJ in court has to prove, that Donald Trump's documents were classified. What we found yesterday is this fascinating bit of archival footage of Donald Trump literally on camera, not just in a press release, not just in a tweet, but on camera saying, I declassify the documents. It's here in black and white. Go!
So we want to be very transparent. So as you know, I declassified everything they want. I put it under the auspices of the Attorney General. He's going to be in charge of it. He's a great gentleman and a highly respected man. So everything that they need is declassified, and they'll be able to see how this how the hoax or witch hunt started and why it started. It was an attempted coup or an attempted takedown of the President of the United States. It should never, ever happen to anybody else. So it's very important. Now, people have been asking me to declassify for a long period of time. I've decided to do it, and you're going to learn a lot. I hope it's going to be nice, but perhaps it won't be.
Perhaps it won't be. You're going to learn a lot. According to Kash Patel, 40% of the information about Russiagate, where it started and who started it, and we know it was started by Barack Obama inside of the White House. We know that it was started by Joe Biden inside of the White House to protect Hillary Clinton, going off fake information that Hillary Clinton created and that John Brennan essentially serviced as an intermediary through the CIA. These people are masters at swampcraft. It's not statecraft. I called it statecraft a second ago. It's swampcraft. This is incredible, and now we get into the heart of the story today. And joining us very soon, Julie Kelly, who is hands down the best reporter on this issue. Hands down, Julie Kelly from American Greatness. I want to lay out for you how they're doing this. If I were to tell you in 2019, actually, if I were to tell you at the beginning of 2020, that a guy named Dr. Fauci would become the most famous and important bureaucrat, you would say, who? And what? And Dr. Fettuccini? Is this like a Batman villain? What's going on? You didn't know, but they knew because they understand how the organs of government work, how the sludge travels through these rotted pipes inside of D.C. And they understand that there are sleepy agencies that can be weaponized to hurt people, their enemies. Places you've never heard of, things you've never heard of. Have you ever gotten audited by the IRS? Have you ever looked through the tax forms? These people come up with ways to put anyone they want into jail, and the reason why is, as Joseph Stalin said, show me the man, I'll show you the crime. I will create a system where you can commit 20 felonies a day and have no idea you're doing it, right? So this is the beginnings of how Barack Obama decided to take down Donald Trump through the National Archives. It is incredible. Let's start on July 28th, 2009. President Barack Obama nominated Fierro, what's his first name? Fierro, the National Archivist, to be the 10th archivist of the United States of America. Okay, this is from the Federalist this morning, published this morning. Records suggest a backbench bureaucrat, the National Archivist Fierro, David Fierro, partisan grievances spurred the FBI's naked political raid on Trump. Here we go. David Fierro is the guy who started all of this. He was the National Archivist. Now, this piece is very long. It's probably like 3,000 words. So let me give you the top line information here by this incredible piece by Margot Cleveland inside of the Federalist. She documents how these leaks began like from day one of Donald Trump's departure. They had this planned. They knew that Donald Trump was going to want to retain personal items, effects, and various things from his presidency. It's Donald Trump. Of course he wants these things. Donald Trump was going to keep these things, and so they were going to orchestrate and manufacture a way to get him through something you've never heard of, which is the Presidential Records Act. And they're going to use a guy appointed by Barack Obama, nominated by Barack Obama, allegiant to Barack Obama, David Fierro. Now, David Fierro is a partisan hack. Why is this librarian a partisan hack? The article goes on to show, one, how the press began setting up this narrative for years. You got to give these communists something, man. They take their time on this stuff. They began setting this up for years with selective leaks to selective media, starting to plant the idea of Donald Trump versus the National Archives. Donald Trump stealing documents from the National Archives. Now let's jump into the article. Who is this David Fierro? This David Fierro is the guy who suggested that the DOJ and the FBI begin to prosecute Donald Trump, intern a grand jury, and then go down there and actually use physical force and guns to raid the president. This David Fierro is the guy, this National Archivist, the angry librarian, the guy appointed by Barack Obama, is the guy who ordered the raid on Donald Trump by proxy. Because David Fierro is the person who set this all up. Here we go. Numerous public statements by Fierro, who is this guy, at the time, referring to the DOJ, served as country archive, suggests the partisan goal underlying the referral. This is the criminal referral. First was Fierro's bizarre overreaction to watching Trump leave the White House, getting off his helicopter, some people carrying white banker's boxes. What the hell is in that box? Fierro apparently asked himself. This is according to the Washington Post, which, of course, when the Washington Post is doing a puff piece on someone, the purpose of that is to lionize them in the corporate press. Please see Christine Blasey Ford. So Fierro is sitting there saying, wait, what documents are Donald Trump taking? I wonder, what documents could Donald Trump be having? Those aren't his documents, those are my documents. Then Fierro's admission that he decided to retire at the end of April 2022 because he's worried about his political future. It's important for me that this administration replace me, Fierro said. I'm not concerned about what's going to happen I'm concerned about what's going to happen in 2024. I don't want it to be left to the unknowns of the presidential election. Well, that's a really strange political statement for an archivist to make. Shouldn't an archivist be like a boring ass librarian who sits there and like replaces the mothballs above the old encyclopedias? Fierro's comments during the post-retirement interview on January 6th, saying that it was the worst day of his life. Oh, that's interesting. Fierro watching the angry mob walking down the road of the White House, not to mention the angry mobs that burned D.C. to the ground, the BLM and Antifa mobs that burned D.C. to the ground that summer. Fierro doesn't have jack to say about them, but Fierro was weeping in his office during January 6th. But here we get to the core of the issue. How did this guy treat Obama versus Trump? Here we go. How was Barack Obama treated with his records? In 2016, before President Obama left office, he rented a private facility at Hoffman Estates to serve as a storage place for his presidential papers. By October 2016, while he was still in office, shipments of artifacts from his presidency began arriving in suburban Chicago storage facilities. Well, that's interesting. So Obama's able to ship tons of his crap to the middle of Chicago into a storage facility that he didn't even live in, that wasn't protected by Secret Service. The Obama documents, both classified and unclassified, remained inside of Hoffman Estates well into 2018, as evidenced by a letter of intent executed between Fierro on behalf of the National Archives. The only difference between the Hoffman Estates storage of Obama's presidential records that began in 2016 and the Mar-a-Lago storage of Trump's presidential records was that the documents were technically within the possession of the National Archives, technically. But even though the documents were legally the property, Obama still had the right to access the records, including the classified documents, because they're Obama's. So upon receiving the boxes of documents from Trump, the National Archives had legitimate concerns about the security at Mar-a-Lago. It's very strange given the fact that this is Trump's residence. The Secret Service safeguarded these locations. A bureaucracy committed to the country and safeguarding her artifacts would have worked to arrange the documents be preserved under the auspices of the National Archives at a location chosen by Trump. That is what this reporting shows. That they are treating Barack Obama, the Obama appointee, is treating Barack Obama and his multi-millions of documents totally differently from Donald Trump.
Well, it's obvious, folks. This is a two-tiered political system, a bunch of political hit jobs, a bunch of smear pieces, and a whole bunch of attempted indictments over a bunch of bullshit. And they're going to do their best to try to find something to blame every one of these Republicans that are fighting against their tyranny. They're going to try to take them all down one way or another. If nothing else, than just smearing their name across the TV for future reference to make them look like part of the Orange Man Bad extremist group, as they call us now. I think it's a bunch of sad, silly shit, to be honest. And I hope nobody actually catches any time out of this behind our crooked Department of Justice and FBI. But I do hope all this crap that's happening becomes a moment of exposure that will get a lot of these folks rooted out of their job and hopefully thrown in prison for the way they're treating this conservative base of ours, calling us extremists, treating people like Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro, and Trump, and several others, like criminals, for just telling the truth, speaking up against the deep state and the tyrannical regime of the Democrats. That's all I got for you folks. Video was a little bit long, but I think Benny had a lot to say. He had a good report. I couldn't have done a better job, so I just threw you up what Benny had to say this morning. Like, subscribe, and share to Voted Patriots, and don't forget, come subscribe to my other channel if you will. Whether you're a junker, whether you know about junking, whether you want to know about junking, whether you don't give a shit about junking, come check out my other channel. Give me a subscription over there. Help a brother out. Thanks, folks. Over and out. Have a great day.